Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Rant World with me, Notorious BLT. The first thing I'd like to do is say thank you to a person on Twitter by the name of, or the handle, where the hell did that go? Lil Bumblebear TV. This person, who is a Twitch streamer, actually is doing something I think is really neat. She retweeted my announcement about streaming Darkest Dungeon the other night, and apparently she just does this. Like, she just retweets smaller channels because she wants there to be more positivity, which I'm like, holy crap, that's really cool. I mean, I haven't really gone and looked like entirely at her account to see like what's going on, but she seems like, yeah, at least on that front, she seems like a very very nice person. So thank you for that. But that kind of brought me to this thought process today of like, sometimes people are just being nice. Like, I know sometimes you know, like, you're a little skeptical, like, oh my god, I gotta tell you, on YouTube, sorry, I just had some enchiladas, whew, and damn were they good. I'll get into that in a sec, don't you worry. We're gonna talk about the food, I tell you that. On YouTube, like, I had seen other creators that were that complain about, like, or maybe not complain, but like pick on, or not even pick on, like, they're just pointing out some garbage that some people do. Basically, there are some practices that some channels on YouTube use that are just trashy garbage, and one of those that still happens to me, and I'm very surprised, and it's from the same goddamn account, but it seems like they always just remake or something. I don't know. It's very frustrating, but it's this account that's like, oh, do you want free music? Because, like, you know, you can get tons of free viewers and stuff, and, like, it'll be great. And I'm just like, no, dude, just no. This is clearly a setup, because what they're asking for is for you to subscribe to them and like all their videos and stuff, and it's like, this is ridiculous. And this kind of goes along with other people, like this one person who I'm not gonna, actually there was quite a few people that did this, but the creators that do this drive me crazy. I hesitate to call them creators because this is just like it's a crappy thing to do. They comment on your videos hoping that people who are watching your videos will come and watch theirs. Because they're like, oh, you know, I'm a small creator too, and then when I look at the, like, numbers of subscribers that they have, like, you know, I'm in the 300s. I'm not, like, you know, a big cheese or anything by any means. In fact, I'm, like, one of the smaller fish in the sea, if you get my meaning. But, like, these people have, like, 70,000 or, like, 100,000 subs, and they're like, oh, I'm a small creator, like, can you come and like and subscribe to my channel? And, or, like, you know, hey, why don't you come check out all stuff? Like, don't do that. That's one of the scummiest things you can do, is go to try to advertise on somebody else's channel. Like, I will never do that. That is just, it's such a, it's just, like, how do you feel okay with yourself afterwards? Like, does it feel good? I don't know. I can't imagine it does. I think if I did that, I'd start feeling like garbage. Be like, man, I should really delete that comment because that was really shitty, because I didn't actually mean to, you know, like, have anything good happen with this other person. I just did this because I wanted the subs. Like, that's the way it seems to me. It's strange. Like, I know, sure, YouTube is a cutthroat business or some crap, but, like, give me a break with this. That's ridiculous. But in any case, this little Bumblebear person, who was very nice and did this, is completely out of character for most, well, I shouldn't say most people in this industry. I shouldn't even say in this industry, like I'm in the industry, because I'm really not. I'm just doing this as a hobby. But, like, out of character for what I hear happens in general. And I just think that that's really cool. Like, somebody just trying to spread positivity. Like, even if you don't enjoy this person's content or whatever, and I don't know because I haven't really checked it out yet, but apparently she's doing a stream of Back to the Future, which is really cool, which I may try to check out. You know, even though I don't know if I like her content yet, I still think, like, I respect the fact that she's doing this. It's just, it's a really cool thing, like, trying to spread some kind of positivity. And then it got me thinking, like, what if, like, I tried to do that? That would be really cool, too. But, like, I don't have a lot of reach, I guess. And not that that really matters that much. But more that I'm also not sure where to look, because, not that I'm a Luddite, but I don't really know exactly how all this, like, Twitter Twitch stuff works. I don't know. I don't mean to try to sound like I'm 80 years old and, doesn't know anything about technology or whatever, but sometimes it certainly feels that way. But it's really cool to see somebody coming out and doing something really positive. That's really what I wanted to get across. But it is irritating to have some of these people that are like, oh man, if you could just come and like all my videos and stuff. Like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. And the worst ones are the ones that are like, oh man, I liked and subscribed. You should totally come and do the same for me. Like, what? First off, no, you didn't, because I'm looking at my sub numbers. Like, I see them every day, and they haven't changed. Nor have you popped up in my subs. Nor have I gotten a notification that you are one of my subs. I also didn't see any likes pop up on this video after you made that comment, or before you made that comment, like directly before. So, why lie about it? I don't get it, man. It just doesn't make any damn sense. It doesn't make any damn sense. And I guess sub for sub is something that people used to do way back in the day, but it's really gone out of fashion as I understand it, which is understandable because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you'd rather have subs that mean something, you know what I mean? Especially since apparently YouTube does a thing where every once in a while they'll purge what they call empty subs. At least I think that's the term for it. It's essentially like people that have been subscribed to your channel that haven't come to like look at it or look at the content or like watch any of your videos in a while. There are some cases that, I mean, there have been times where like, I don't mean to get too like inside baseball or like, oh, feel bad for me or anything like that, because that's not what this is, okay? Just every once in a while, maybe like a couple times a year, I'll look at my sub numbers and then just watch them drop, and I'm like, oh man, it feels really bad. Now, motorcycle, why are you so loud and obnoxious? Stop. Oh, yes, of course, your car farts. They're so great. Everybody loves the car farts, huh? Oh, are you gone? You're gone. Okay. And I don't know if this, I don't want to just attribute this to like, this supposed thing where YouTube purges inactive subs or whatever. It could also be just people are like, hey, I just don't really want to be subbed to this guy anymore, which is fine. That's just, that's how it goes sometimes. I'm not trying to, say, it's got to be this thing where it's got to be YouTube. It can't be people that don't like my content, because like, I don't know. To me, it also just feels strange to even call it like the content or content that I am creating, or like my content. That just feels strange. But that kind of goes into something that I talked with a couple friends of mine about on our trip to Maine. Maybe, God, what was that, like a month ago? I think it was like a month ago. No, it was, or maybe more than a month ago. No, it was at the beginning of this month. What am I talking about? Oh my God. Was it at the, wait, yeah, it was at the beginning of this month. Yeah. So there was this store that we saw called Pete's Pretty Good Ice Cream, which is like, man, that is so out of character for like most companies that you see nowadays, because most places that are trying to sell something are like, we're the best, we have the greatest, ice cream or whatever on the planet, nobody else can beat us. And if it's a radio ad, there's like explosions and stuff in the background. It doesn't make any sense. But it just got me thinking, I think this is what I would sound like if I was trying to advertise my own business. It would be like, Notorious BLT's ice cream, yeah, it's all right. Because I don't, like, one of the things that bothers me the most in this world is people that are arrogant. I try so hard not to be full of myself about anything. I mean, every once in a while, like, it'll be a little bit of a gag, where I'm like on a video or something where I act like I'm full of myself, or like act like I have any idea what I'm doing, because really I don't. But as I said, it's really just an act. It's not like I don't actually feel that way. And I think it's important to be able to differentiate that too, because not everybody can really differentiate between that. I know I've been caught by it a couple times where I'm like, man, this person bothers me. They're just so arrogant. It's like, no, dude, they're really not. They're just, it's an act. But anyhow, that's just like, that's just how I am. I don't, it is incredibly flattering to me that I even have the number of subs that I do, and the number of people that like come to the streams on a regular basis. Which, by the way, if you haven't stopped by the streams, it's twitch.tv/notorious_BLT if you want to come and check out the streams that I have on Monday and Tuesday nights from 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 or whatever time I end up stopping. Like this past Tuesday. Past Tuesday? Well, it would be this week's Tuesday where I streamed until almost midnight because we were doing Darkest Dungeon Endless Mode, and it was just fabulous. The ending of our Endless run was kind of ridiculous. It was very tension filled, and as was said by me in chat, the intensity intensified. If you don't know what that is, it's a joke about movies because they're always like music intensifies in the subtitles, stuff like that. So in an industry that is somewhat plagued by people being selfish and scummy, it is just very nice to see somebody that is trying to spread positivity and goodness. And we had a very nice, very short exchange in the Twitter DMs, which is another strange place because I don't really understand Twitter DMs. Like, I remember I was trying to contact somebody who was actually one of the devs for Rainworld, this game that you're watching me play right now, about her art. And I was like, hey, because, I don't know what the etiquette is for Twitter DMs. I don't really know, like, online stuff etiquette, like even Facebook. I don't know. Like, are you supposed to like sad posts? I don't understand. But anyway, I contacted her and I was like, hey, I'm sorry if this is like not how this is supposed to be done. I'm kind of a Twitter noob, but, and then I asked some questions. She was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't really help you with that. And I was like, all right, no, but I just want to also tell you that your art is amazing, and I hope things go very well for you. I mean, that's not verbatim. This is like, I'm just trying to give a regular, like a rough idea of the kind of stuff that I was saying, and the kind of stuff that she was saying back. But so it was just, it was strange. Like, and this person, this Bumblebear person, who retweeted my stream, and I don't actually know if it even brought people to the stream, because unfortunately, like, you can't really see the people that are in chat unless they talk. There was one person that showed up that I hadn't seen before, so maybe that person came there from that. I don't know, but I appreciate the support nonetheless. Like, even if you don't watch or whatever, I still appreciate the support. It's, what can I say? It's just you no matter what, you did something nice, and that's what really counts in my opinion. You tried to do something nice for somebody else that you don't even know, who may even be playing a game that you don't even care about, but you did something nice, and that was really cool. And that's like, that's one of those things that I try to advocate for, and I try to be a good person in that kind of way on a regular basis, but I don't always succeed because I've talked about social anxiety in the past. I don't want to say I have crippling social anxiety, because that is not the case. And I feel that would be a gross misrepresentation of reality. But I do have some social anxiety, because there are a lot of social situations where I'm just like, I don't know how to respond. And I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't know what to say or do or whatever. And I don't want to, like, upset anybody. So I just end up saying nothing, or shrugging, or just nervously laughing, and that's about it. But like, let's see, one of the good deeds that I did some time ago, and this isn't even like, this is so minor. Like, if this is the kind of thing where if it's like, if you didn't do this, I would wonder about your character. And this thing that I'm talking about is, I was at the grocery store some time ago, and the grocery store that I go to on a regular basis has these machines that it's a self-checkout machine, and they have a whole bunch of them, and you can get cash back if you use a debit card. I don't, because I don't use debit cards. Okay, that's it. I just don't use debit cards. It's just not my thing. Anyway, I was waiting for one of the machines to free up, and this woman left the machine that she was at. I'm figuring, all right, she's done. And she's like going for the door. And I go towards the machine, and apparently she got some cash back, and it wasn't a small amount. And so I'm like, oh shit. So I grab all this money, and I'm like, excuse me, miss? Ma'am? Miss? Approaching this woman, and like, she looks back like, what the hell does this guy want? And I'm like, I think you left this at the machine. And she was like, oh my God, thank you. Like, but this is the kind of thing that I think that, any any person should do. Like, if you look at that and you're like, it's a payday. Like, what is wrong with you? You are stealing from this poor person. Why would you do that? This dropwig gets everything it deserves. Scaring the shit out of me, charging me like that, and then getting stabbed in the face. That little piece of garbage got everything it deserved. I tell you that, everything it deserved. Spear in the face. But yeah, like it's one of those things where I'm like, what if you look at this as a payday instead of an opportunity to do something nice for somebody else? Who raised you? Like, what happened in your life? And I understand that, like, if you are super destitute, you may look at that and not in, like, an opportunistic manner. Okay? Because that's what I mean is, like, if you are a super garbage person. If you are a super garbage person, you look at this situation as, like, an opportunity to do something to further your own stuff while hurting somebody else. Shame on you, for real. But if you... I'm not advocating stealing, okay? But I'm just saying that I can understand the perspective that if you are super hard up for money and you see this, I can understand where the temptation would come. But I'm still going to tell you, I really hope that you return the money. Even if somebody else is better off than you. Like, that saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right, well, no wrong makes anything right, really. And I suppose that depends on your perspective of what's right and wrong, I guess. But... some people think that, like, gay marriage is wrong, and that's something I just can't understand. Like, it's just, it's 2 people that love each other, who cares? Like, just, they're not hurting anybody, for Christ's sake. Why mess with them? It doesn't make any sense, Like, why go on this tirade? Why am I going on this tirade? But, why be so angry about 2 people that love each other that just because they're, 2 guys or 2 women or 2 trans people or whatever, like, 2 trans people that identify as the same gender. Who cares? Like, just let them, if they love each other, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, it does not, I don't mean it doesn't matter. I mean, like, it doesn't matter to us. It doesn't, affect our lives. It doesn't hurt us as heterosexual people. Like, why get all freaked out about it? It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, if you don't believe in that stuff and you just want to, like, voice your opinion, but you don't want to, hurt these people, I guess that's all right. I don't know. But just, like, I don't know, maybe keep that opinion to yourself. Don't harass these people just because they're different than you. That's one of those things that bothers the crap out of me. Just, leave people alone. Just don't be mean to people. It's like, it's not even the golden rule. It's like a rule that's good. Just don't be mean to people. Like, if I understand that, sometimes there are folks that, their beliefs or whatever end up hurting other people. That I can understand, like, being very strongly against. I can't think of a good example. Well, what is it? Oh, well, here's one. Racism. Like, I can very much understand being extremely against racism. Like, even though this is a weird subject for me. Not because I, feel like racism is good or anything, because I don't. I think that racism is the most horrible things on this planet, or rather, one of the most detrimental things on this planet, to us as people. But it's a strange thing for me because, like, I am of Hispanic descent, but as I am right now, I look very, very white. I look like a white dude. I sound like a white dude. When I was much younger, I had very, very dark skin. And I ended up having to deal with, I don't want to say it was exactly like racism, but it certainly felt like it at the time. But certainly not as bad as some people have had to put up with. I will say that. Like, I have been very, very fortunate in that regard. God, that feels like such a shitty thing to say too. But so one of the examples is I had this teacher long ago in grade school, or elementary school, or whatever you want to call it. Who, I don't want to say she refused to help myself and 2 of my friends, one of which was of Spanish descent, as in, like, from Spain. The other one was of Mexican descent, as in from Mexico. As in his parents were from Mexico, and I believe he was born there. But my buddy Santino, who was of Spanish descent, I believe that his mother and father were from Spain, but he was born in the United States, I think. But anyway, this teacher I don't want to say that she was calling us idiots, because that's not the case. But it became very clear to a bunch of people that she didn't really like helping these kids with darker skin. She loved this other kid, Kata, who was a really cool kid. Like, just a really all-around great kid. Loved helping him. And like, praised him all the time, but like, when one of us three had a problem, it was like, ugh, it's these kids again. You know, so... And I don't want to say that I was like a stupid kid. I don't think I was a stupid kid, because this teacher was... I don't know, this teacher just... She never struck me as being a very nice person. But in any case, I don't mean to, like, belittle some of the shit that other people have had to put up with, because honestly, like, for example, my dad had to put up, and his family had to put up with some of the most... I don't want to say grotesque, because there is vastly... There are things that I hear about that are so much worse that happen in terms of, like, racist garbage. But, like, I mean, when my dad's parents finally came to the United States, because my dad and his brother came here first, then his sister and his parents came. And it was, I want to say, like, 4 years or something like that before they were able to come here. Well, when they finally got here, they were trying to get some money together, living in Miami, and they were trying to go collect old newspapers. And my dad and his brother had coached their father, my grandfather, in, like, what to say or what to ask for. And there were quite a few places that, with his broken English and his very obvious Cuban accent, people basically told him to shove off, you stinky Spanish person, except in not even terms that could be considered, even if you could consider what I just said nice, in terms that were much more disgusting. Not only that, but, like, you know, my dad has somewhat darker skin, or had somewhat darker skin. He has also become a pasty white man. Or at least he looks like one anyway. Not that that takes away from his heritage at all, I don't think. But long ago in the 70s, and actually up until somewhat recently as well, he would get stopped at airports constantly. He has been stopped at the border from Canada, because he liked to go fishing in Canada, many times by police, authorities, etc., because he had dark skin and a beard. Because back in the 70s, there was a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say it was like institutionalized, well, I guess, does that count as institutionalized racism? I'm not really sure. I'm not like an expert in this shit, okay? And I really don't mean to offend anybody with this stuff. And if something I'm saying sounds ignorant, then, you know, call me out on it. I am more than willing to learn from my mistakes. But there was a lot of fear of darker-skinned folks with facial hair, because that was like the stereotypical description of a terrorist. So, you know, I have certainly, even though what my experiences are so minimal by comparison with some other people, I have heard things that are not, I don't mean to minimize anything, okay? But I have heard of experiences within my own family that are less than great, to say the least. That's not to diminish things like, you know, the violence that African American people are experiencing or anything, because that is just, it's unacceptable, to say the very least. I really don't know what else to say about that, but it is absolutely unacceptable. And if you don't know, there's a lot of essentially there's a lot of folks that are getting killed for what appears to be, and is generally, as far as I can see, no goddamn reason. Like, oh, this person's got a gun, except it was a cell phone. Like, that's not okay. That's really not okay. I understand, like, there's defenses for all these things if you want, but I don't know if it's just, like, better training that needs to happen or what, but I need to get off this subject, because this is just crazy. But The problem is now I'm not even sure where to go because I've just gone down this rabbit hole. What I was trying to say before was just I basically want people to follow the Bill and Ted rule, which is be excellent to each other. Which apparently is also the default Twitch stream rules, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, just be excellent to each other. You know, very little gets accomplished by being horrible to one another. Whereas a lot gets accomplished through conversation and understanding. This is one of the reasons why girlfriend and I watched a little bit of the show the other day. I forget what it was called, but basically they take two famous people from history, and then they talk about them. And the first episode was Benjamin Franklin and Mahatma Gandhi. Both of them led revolutions in their countries to boot the British occupation, the British Empire. But they both did it in very different ways. Benjamin Franklin was one of the people that engineered or that helped organize / engineer the revolution in the United States against the British. Mahatma Gandhi, that was India. Except Benjamin Franklin went about it in, I don't want to say violent manner, but they revolted. They said, "Hey, get out of here. We don't want you anymore. You're no taxation without representation, etc." And the British were like, "How about no?" And then, of course, the people of the United States were like, "How about yes? You just leave." And so we ended up winning that revolution, etc. But we did that through, I can't really say it in any better way. We did it through violence. It was, there's a reason it was called the Revolutionary War, not the Revolutionary Tea Time. But Mahatma Gandhi did it in a different way. He did it through peaceful protest. Probably, I would say, one of the most successful peaceful protests in history. Because what he did was, instead of attacking people or being violent in any way, they staged things like hunger strikes, where you just don't eat. You're like, if you don't leave, we're not eating. Once you leave, we'll eat again, but you have to go. Or like sit-downs. And the whole purpose of this, essentially, was to say, and what I'm about to say sounds like it's like a kind of manipulation, and I guess it is in the most basic sense, but really that mischaracterizes this entire thing severely. So please don't take it this way. But essentially what this style of protest does is it says, we refuse to use violence. These other people, they use violence. Who would you rather support? The non-violent or the violent? And of course, you're going to say the non-violent, because who the hell wants to support violent people? That's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure you can see why I mentioned, it sounds like it could be like a manipulative tactic. But it's true. Like, if you are willing to face violent oppressors in a completely non-violent way, it's going to draw a lot of support because people don't want violence. People want peace. That's one of the, girlfriend and I watched the show Game of Thrones. Have you heard of it? I mean, it's very, no, I'm going to stop this joke. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. But, we watched Game of Thrones, and one of the lines in that show, which I think is so appropriate, and I'm going to paraphrase it and probably butcher it really badly, but it was something along the lines of, the small folk, this is kind of a demeaning term in this case, but it basically refers to the common people. So we'll just call them the common people. Don't care about the games being played by the monarchy or any of that stuff. What they want is a good harvest and rain. And to live their lives. And that's so freaking true. Like, yes, I'm sure people get mad and like try to deal with, day-to-day politics. And maybe not, you don't get mad, you just get very passionate. I don't know. But, dealing with day-to-day politics stuff. But at the end of the day, what do we all want? We want peace. And if you're an old person at heart like me, you want quiet. But you also just want people to be happy. And to be left alone. Like, when somebody says, oh, well, all these people, they want me to be the leader, like, well, I guess maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. Just life is strange in that way. We tend to fool ourselves into thinking things that are not necessarily 100% true. You know, things like, well, I shouldn't say we as in like a general thing, but some people tend to seem to like fool themselves into thinking that they're far more important than they really are, or than they really are. And when I say important, I mean like to other people. Like, I'll never forget this lesson that I think it was that my dad was the one that taught me. But when you're a lot of folks when they're younger tend to think in terms of basically that people are doing things because of them. Wrong or right, it's just the way it happens. And I can understand where it comes from, because as you're growing up, your parents do, from your perspective, just about everything because of you. Because you're their child. But going forward in your life, that's not true. And dispelling that misconception, I think, is extremely important. You know, to get rid of this, calling it self-centered, even though it is like a self-centered view, I don't mean to be insulting to anybody, because it's not something that most people can avoid. It's just like, you know, it's how things kind of end up being. And not everybody has this perspective. I did, though, when I was growing up. And it's not because my parents are bad parents. I love my parents, and I think that they're great parents. And I don't, you know, I'm very glad that they were my parents. And yes, I have told them that, because I love my parents. But anyway, I think it's very important to gain real-world perspective in how things function. Like, sometimes people do things not because they want to, like, you know, make a point to you, or it may be something that affects you, but they're not doing it necessarily because of you or anything like that. They're doing something because they want or need to, and they hadn't, like, the thought of how it affects you hadn't really crossed their mind. And in some cases, maybe that's super selfish, and in some cases, it's probably not. You know, like, if somebody is... What's a good example here? Like, my girlfriend is allergic to peppers. And there was one night when we went to dinner at my parents' house, and my mom made something with peppers. And it's not that she did it because she wanted to, like, be a jerk to girlfriend. She just didn't know. And it's, you know, the thought hadn't crossed her mind because, you know, nobody had felt the need to mention it. You know, it's just that kind of thing. It's always good to just think about things from another perspective. But anyhow, that is going to do it for this episode, folks. Hope you all did enjoy it. And if you did, you know what to do. That is going to be it for me, Notorious BLT. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all next time. Bye-bye, folks.